Hey, what's up YouTube? Dope as Yola here. Hope you're having a dope day. Welcome back to another story time. Before we start, as always, drop a like, hit the notification bell, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We are a family-friendly channel, and that means I don't talk about smoking, don't talk about cussing, none of that stuff on this channel. We're trying to keep it friendly, all right? We actually get paid on this channel. We're trying to have fun and just be regular YouTube kids, because you know, on the Dope as Yola channel, I do not get paid $1. So if you're new to this channel, this is the Adventures of Yola channel. My main channel is Dope as Yola. We're about to hit 1.4 mil on there. Like I said, I don't get paid. It's age restricted all the time because it's very explicit. So this is my other outlet where I get to actually be a regular YouTube person, get recommended to be on the watch page. It's cool. So today's story is something you guys ask all the time. How did you meet Marty? How did you start the podcast? That's what today's story time is, from the very second I met this guy until today. If you don't know, the Dope as Usual podcast, me and my friend Marty, we co-host this together. Top 25 in the world, guys. Thank you for that support. It is unreal, all right? We are on episode like 75 right now and everything is going great, but let me tell you how it all started. So this story actually starts with this dude right here holding the camera. Trent, he did the first ever like influencer party. People that did Instagram stuff for candy content in like 2014. He had a super cool house, invited everybody, we filmed it. It's on my Dope as Yola channel. It's so far in the beginning, guys. I don't even know what episode it's called, but it's like a trip to LA or something. It's like 7-8 years ago. In this episode, I asked some random dude I didn't know, hey, could you hold the camera? Because you know, everybody's filming, could you hold this and throw this to me and I'll catch it? Little did I know that was Marty. That was Marty's first month living here. He just moved from Buffalo to do music. He's with Dr. Dre's kid. Dr. Dre's kid happens to know this dude, and I was like, yo, come to my party. So I unintentionally met Marty that day. The whole time I'm hanging out, I had no idea that this kid was gonna be my business partner, one of my best homies. 8 years later, guys. 8 years later, I'm doing story time. I'm doing my thing on Instagram. I post. I think story time can essentially be a podcast. How would I go about doing this? Would you guys watch? I posted those words on my Instagram and I checked my DM a couple hours later and there's a DM from someone named Drastic Graphics. I go through DMs, right? I go from the top, go to the bottom, they refresh. I start at the top, so sorry if I don't get to all of them. There's thousands. I just happened to click Marty's. I click it. The DM said, hey, saw that you wanted to start a podcast, longtime fan, would love to talk to you about starting a podcast. I get hit up by people every day to do business stuff. People, you already know, if you're in entertainment, everyone's brother is a videographer and everyone's brother's the best rapper and everyone, you know what I mean? My uncle does, everyone says that. I'm not saying they don't. I just hear it every 5 seconds. He didn't come at me like this. He says, been following you for years. So that means he only put himself into position when he could be of help. Not just, hey, let me work with you somehow. No. Put yourself into position to be useful. Everybody wants to chill and hang out and do stuff, but how can we be productive? Like, how can we make this a business while having fun first? That's what podcasting is, guys. People, you think Joe Rogan started the podcast? He's like, yo, let's talk about stuff. We're gonna get paid a bunch of money. No, they did that stuff because they wanted to talk. They wanted an outlet, and it just turned into the podcast world. So I read the DM, I'm like, all right, I'll check this guy out. I look, media management, all this stuff, Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Adam Carolla, all this. All the biggest names in podcasting and comedy, Marty works with, media managed, does all their ticket sale. That's Marty. Marty doesn't talk about it a lot, but he crushes it. That's what Marty does on his other part of his life, you know? He does all the comedians podcast stuff. He's behind the scenes. So he thought, yo, this Dope as Yola guy, I think I could help him behind the scenes and we'll make a podcast. Instead of him just helping these comedians make millions of dollars, why can't he come into position and be one of those guys? So that's how we thought about it, like, yo, I think me and you could do a podcast. Let's do it together. It took a year and like 4 months for us to find a building, schedule it, figure out the structure of how we want this show to go. So for the first year, Marty and I didn't do no podcast. All he did was start editing Dope as Yola, and that is when my channel really took ground. Like, it really started showing like, oh, here's YouTube. Here's Dope as Yola's YouTube. We go above and beyond the craziest stuff, reenactment, story times, paying thousands of dollars for stuff out of pocket. We don't get none of that money back. We don't get paid by YouTube. I do that because I love it. So that's what me and Marty did for a year. Then, boom, finally got this building right here. Finally got a warehouse. It took forever. I think they were Googling my name and said no. Marty finally put his name on the application, finally got a warehouse. So we move in here, me and Marty are structuring everything. We know what we want to do. So if you've been watching the Dope as Usual podcast on YouTube, Spotify, anything, thank you. From episode 1 is still in the bank. Me and Marty did episode 1, and at the end I go, let's redo it tomorrow. Because on story time and this content right here, I can cut my mess ups, maybe a cough or something. This is easy. Podcasting's hard. It's long form content. No stutters. There's no, there is none of that. You got to be on point. So the very first episode's actually in the bank. Maybe we'll release it one day. So if you're not already, follow the Dope As Usual podcast on Instagram. We're on Twitter, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Dope As Usual podcast. We're about to hit 200,000 subscribers. Thank you guys. This is what happened. Marty and I sit down, we build a set out there. I wish it would have been here where the AC is. That's why we moved it for season 2. Season 1, me and Marty were toughing it out there like 105-degree weather. First couple episodes, you see me like this, dripping. Where I have multiple fans under the table just attempting to not let me die. Episode 1 came out, I put on Spotify, watched our stuff pop up, blew my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I know you could do Spotify, but to see it pop up on my car as I turned up the music, like, then we got our first guest. Shout out to Josh Wolf, one of my good homies. He is so cool. Josh Wolf, the comedian, is great. He's hilarious, and he's here all month, so get ready for that content. Then the second guest we had, Ryan Sickler, super funny comedian. He is great. Right after Sickler, we had our third guest, which is Jessime Peluso, super funny comedian. She actually has her second interview with us, dropping Monday. We just had her in the other day. It was cool to see her and like regroup on how far we've come since episode 3. So anyway, guys, episode 3, episode 4, me and Marty are like, yo, we're coming out of pocket. Marty was dropping his major clients for me to make more time for us to do stuff. So automatically, like, my brain clicked into, I gotta get this full paid. We gotta start making money. We gotta actually make this a business because I can do this for fun. Marty has 3 children and a career and a wife. Like, no. This has to work for Marty, or why is he here? Yes, we have fun, we do all that, but this is a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has a mortgage and stuff. So me and Marty were like, okay, let's start getting these sponsors. We already had this plan, like, start doing the sponsors. So shout out to Manscaped. Manscaped has been sponsoring us since episode 5. All right, episode 5, they took a chance with us. That's why I heavily preach about Manscaped. They're awesome. Everybody at the whole team, thank you for being down with us, sticking with us, and believing in us when we just started. So right after that, we teamed up with this really cool agency, and they ended up screwing us over, guys, like bad. Marty and I weren't making no money, and they stiffed us out of almost 30K, and we hadn't made any money yet. And me and Marty were waiting on that money to recoup for all this stuff, and they stiffed us. We're still stiffed, and they're getting sued. So long story short, our first contract of an agency went terrible. Anyway, fast forward like episode 10, 11, Tommy Chong comes over here, all right? I've had Tommy Chong on Storytime before, the Dope As Yola channel, but to have him come and sit down, interview with us, like once in a lifetime kind of things, like I will cherish that. But when Chong came in here, it made us switch up our whole game plan. It was nighttime. I had him come at night because it's so hot. It was still 100 degrees in here. I'm interviewing a legendary actor, Tommy Chong, and I could see on his face that he's hot. Like, I'm here sweating. I know he's sweating too. So Tommy Chong being here made me and Marty reevaluate everything. We know we had to build a set inside with the air conditioning because that was it. It was too much. It's dusty out there. We have to depend on the sun and hope that the sun doesn't mess up our show. Also, if you watch the show, our mascot, the lone cricket, there's a cricket lost in this warehouse and you could hear it so loud. Me and Marty searched for hours, couldn't find him. But the last episode in there, you could hear him like, all right, later guys. Like that was it. We didn't hear him for 10 weeks. And then the last episode, you can hear him going hard. So anyway, the first season went well. Everything went so good. Everything's going great. The fans are there. Everyone's watching. And then everything changes for the better. We come in here, season 2, shout out to Trey, built the light, set up everything, the new table, all that. Season 2 took an uphill turn. One of the first guests we got on season 2, if you don't watch the show, you gotta get on it. Epic, legendary things. But one of the first guests that we had on this season, I think he might have been the first guest of the season, was Steve-O. Yes, Steve-O, the Steve-O from Jackass. We had him here. Guys, the show, once that happened, I looked at Marty like, we're a real show, dude. Like we have actual people coming to the show. I mean, I didn't feel like we weren't before, but seeing that like solidified it. And then about a week after that, what happened? We got the deal that we were waiting for. We got the deal, me and Marty were just like, I hope it goes through. If you didn't know, the Dope As Usual podcast, this guy and Marty, us, these two candy eaters, we are 2022 brand ambassadors to Miller Lite. Miller Lite, you know, the gigantic conglomerate beer company. We are the brand ambassadors. So Dope As Usual podcast is fully sponsored by Miller Lite, and that's why all the signs are up right there. So if you don't watch the show, just remember, like, it actually works. It's actually working. People are watching. Miller Lite was like, yeah, sign these dudes for a year. Everything's going. Me and Marty switch it up. We have different camera angles. We're trying to elevate this show, trying to do more, book more guests, book more this, and then a month later, what happened? You guys know Adam Sandler's my favorite person, but there still are people from my childhood that I see and I still love. And the fact that we can get them on this show, have conversations with them, I'll never forget this. If we stop doing the podcast today, I'll still be happy forever, knowing that I had the opportunity to be like my own Johnny Carson, my own Jimmy Kimmel stuff going on. You know, like that late night talk show. How you doing, man? How's it going? We had Tony Hawk and Jason Ellis come. Yes, Tony Hawk, the Tony Hawk, guys, the most prolific skateboarder of all time, was in this warehouse. I gave him push trees gear. Blew my mind, guys. I'll pop up the pictures right here, but we had a Tony Hawk episode. One of those moments when I take a look back and think of all the times in Merced, think of all the stuff, all the times I thought I would never leave, and here I am sitting with Tony Hawk at our show. You know what I mean? Like, he came to our show. And then after, we just chilled for like 30 minutes and we talked, and then he went to some like Dior show he got invited to. This is LA. This is GTA. My life doesn't get more GTA. Like, this is the craziest thing ever. Also, for all you gamers out there, go watch these episodes. I'm dropping certain guests for you to go watch. We had Franklin, Sean Fontino. Franklin from Grand Theft Auto. That is a real person played by a real actor named Sean. Super cool guy. I've known him for a long time, and a lot of people like, you do not know Franklin from Grand Theft Auto. Like, yeah, I do, back when he used to sell candy and stuff. So anyway, yeah, he came on the show. We talked all about Grand Theft Auto. Our show has a wide variety. We had Dr. Drew from Loveline, and then we had Rick Ross, the biggest candy dealer of all time. And then we had Bob. He had to wear a mask the whole episode for identity. You see our show, it's like this. It's like, yo, this week we're gonna have street people. Tomorrow we're gonna have Dr. Phil. I don't know, guys. We're just constantly just, who do we want to see? I want Bill Nye on there. I want Adam Sandler on there. I want Brett Favre on there so I could just scold him for dissing me. Not for real, but we love it. And we love the fact that the fans are there. Every Monday, guys, no matter where you are, every Monday at 3 p.m., we drop a new episode. Whether it's on Spotify, on Apple, doesn't matter. YouTube, we're there. With that being said, huge shout out to Spotify, okay? This is the story time. This is what I want to tell you in case you don't keep up with it, in case you didn't even know we had a podcast. This is the story time of how we started a podcast and how this is about to skyrocket. So guys, from the bottom of Marty and I's hearts, shout out to Spotify. Shout out to Paulo from Spotify too. They reached out to us and partnered with us. The Dope as Usual podcast is a partner with Spotify. If you got Spotify and you hear a familiar voice on a commercial, it's me. You're not tripping, that's me. Yes, we have little commercials on people on Spotify. It'll drop, you know, doing commercials. Hey, what's up, man? This is Thomas from the Dope as Usual podcast. Go ahead, check us out every Monday. Like, we have drops and commercials. It's the craziest thing. Spotify will put up like, go check out the DJ Ghost episode. Oh yeah, we just had DJ Ghost on, his first interview of all time. Just had him on last week. Shout out to you. They'll put up little pictures and flyers all over Spotify. They really like us, so thank you to Spotify, big time. Also, I know they give us a little grief and they take our money away and restrict us, but shout out to YouTube too. They gave us the plaque. Me and Marty have a YouTube plaque and we've never had that. So for that, YouTube, I appreciate you. So with the podcast, we're doing a lot, like with the Miller Lite, we have all the sponsor stuffs coming out, but the biggest news I'm about to drop on you right now. If you watched my last Dope as Yola episode called The Biggest News Ever, The Best News Ever, I talk about it in there. Me and Marty have been working on, well no, Marty's been working on this deal for a year. Me and Marty together have actively been working on this deal for 6 months. Marty's been putting in the footwork with his people, introduced me, we started talking. Finally happened 2 hours before I filmed this episode. The contract, finally, everything, lawyer, done. We are ready to go. The Dope as Usual podcast is officially teamed up with Malcolm Media. I know you probably don't know who that is, you're not in the podcast world, but if you are, yeah, we did it. We're about to move this set. I know we just built this set. We're about to take the podcast set, move it to their studio. Because why? They got a production studio. There's like 7 cameramen. There's a cage. If you know what the camera cage is, everything you can think of. Every lens, every stand, everything. There's dudes moving around pieces like a set, like a movie set. Once they're done with the podcast, they break the set down and move it for the next show, the next this, maybe they're shooting that, an interview. We walk in there, there's 40 people working. They already knew our name. They already knew me and Marty were coming in like we're their new show. So I know that doesn't sound crazy to you, but let me tell you why it's so crazy to me. So guys, Malcolm Media, we have a bunch of shows on the East Coast, West Coast. West Coast, I want to tell you who we're now partnered with, who we're in the same room with. You walk into this production studio, there's 3 sets. Well, 2, because ours hasn't been built yet, because we're coming next month. Here's the big news, okay? This is my life. This is GTA. This is where we got to. I'm so excited, me and Marty. Doesn't even seem real. When we walk in, guys, to this studio, are you ready? All the production people, we have all the, you know, they book our guests, they take over our ads. They just got us the biggest ad. I know Miller Lite's huge. they just got us some massive ad partners. And I know I'm saying that with a Miller Lite sign next to me. It's that big, that's why. Marty and I are about to crush 2023. The end of 2022 is annihilated. 2023 is about to get murdered. Guys, we walk in, our set is gonna be right there on the left. Dope as usual, me and Marty's stuff. To the right, in the middle, Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, All About the Smoke. Yes, the NBA legends. Us, All About the Smoke, right next to them. 2 to 5 feet away from our set is Hotboxing with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson set's right there. So on Malka's roster, Tyson, All About the Smoke, Marty and I. Does that even work? That doesn't even seem real, does it? Like this guy, like we're on the same team with Mike Tyson now. All right. And you guys already know my mom's a fanatic. She lost her mind. We signed the deal, guys. We're officially Team Malcolm Media, Dope as Usual podcast. They're the back end. Marty and I now walk in, talk, and leave. No more editing, no more uploading, no more setting up camera, no more breaking down the set, no more setting up the set, no more booking guests, no more booking ads, no more getting guests scheduled, no more getting with their agents, no more with their managers, bringing them here. That's a full-time job that me and Marty have been doing. Guys, no more. So me and Marty can now just focus on making the show fun for next week. That's all we gotta do now. That is why I wanted to talk about starting a podcast. Look, I just said it in a story time, sparked off one other person. They came to me, we started a show. Me and Marty have a good work ethic. We both manifest on things we want, things we're gonna do. We set goals. He's very goal oriented. And look what happened from that, all right? We're just two dudes eating candy, talking on camera. You can be that too. Maybe it's not podcasting, maybe it's something else, but just look. Marty's from the ghetto of Buffalo. I'm from the ghetto of Merced. We just happen to cross paths. Look where we're at. Look at where this has taken us. Next month, we move into a production studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not even 100 episodes in, and me and Marty said by episode 100, we want to get a deal that we're both set. And it finally happened. So thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for making it possible, tuning in every week, the Dope as Usual podcast. Thank you. Spotify partner, Malcolm Media, Miller Lite, all this stuff. None of it matters unless you guys watch. Like, unless you guys care, why does it matter? We could be getting paid and doing all this stuff, and if nobody comes to watch and hang out with us, then why am I there? Like, it's not fun. I'm in the live chat every single episode because I want to talk to you guys. I want to see your reaction to the video. Like, it's fun. It's like hanging out with your homies and watching a movie, except I just happen to be the dude in the movie. That's it. This is the story time. I just wanted to tell you from start to finish, because some of you out there on the Adventures Yola channel probably have no idea I have a podcast channel. Or if you just happen to find this channel right now, I am Thomas. My name is Dope as Yola on the internet. I eat a lot of candy on the Dope as Yola channel. Over here, I talk about my life. On the podcast, it's a little of both. So that was the story time, guys. I started a podcast, Dope as Usual, how we started, how I met Marty, whatever you want to call it, it's all together. Me and Marty, day in, day out, FaceTime. What are we doing? Let's get it done. Now that we got this team behind us, now me and Marty are just gonna, hey, you want to film? Let's go to work. Let's go to work. And as we leave, you want to go do a vlog? You know, like me and Marty don't get to chill because he's so busy. We film, we're back at it. We film, we're back at it. Me and Marty have hung out like 3 times outside of work. Not saying we don't chill for hours after an episode, but we don't like go to the movies and do stuff because we don't have time. So from next month and out, much more content. Much more content. Me and Marty are in a new studio, new guests, different stuff, just... Let me just put it this way. Malcolm Media's taken over our booking. They told us, do you want Steph Curry? I'll go get you Steph Curry. But they said it like that. So just get ready, guys. I'm excited. I'm hyped. Get ready. We're no longer the booking agents. We're no longer the ad people. We're no longer the editors. It's coming soon. So guys, that's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for being here. And if you already knew every step of the way, thank you for being such a dedicated fan. And I know a lot of you out there just said, hey, how come you didn't talk about this thing? Because you know everything about us. So thank you so much, from talking about things that aren't fun to talk about on the show, losses, terrible stuff, to wins and fun stuff. If you don't have anybody to chill with on a Monday afternoon, come hang out with Marty and I. It's really fun. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much. This has been another episode of Storytime. Until next time, I'm Dope as Yola. Have a dope day.